And so 500 people are said to die every year whilst crossing the road. And when the weather is clear, people are getting more involved in accidents. So that's it right there on your screen. Over 500 pedestrians knocked down and killed while crossing the road every year. And we have a bigger conversation coming up on this matter. Tomorrow, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly will be launching a road safety report for the capital, and we'll be following that to bring you all the details of their findings in that work they've been doing with Bloomberg Philanthropy's Initiative for Global Road Safety. We also have some of their engineers who worked on that report joining us today to share some insights with us. We'll be having that conversation shortly. Stay with me on the pulse. I'm coming right back.
Moses Adey is one of them. On Friday, 19th March 2021, 13-year-old Moses stepped out to buy food at Trader Junction and has since not returned home. Moses has been on admission at the trauma and orthopedics ward of the Confnochi Teaching Hospital for almost 6 months.
I'm when you are playing chess, many quotidian, me intimate, me third and me and me Jimmy Susan, me damn one a can bomb. Can bomb many tinam the home at tram 9. And it's me say is he then and bedaha. And I see then no tram 9. No Busan. No Busan said in Tino tram 9. No sican, a bomb in a tiny fast in a yam dumping. Tino me own she need to try.
I am in Kumasi for further information, and I get the opportunity to meet the police officers who were first dispatched to the accident scene.
This is the exact spot police officers found Moses on the day he was knocked by that taxi. He came to buy food from this woman, Gary and beans. He had finished and he was about boarding a tricycle that brought him when the taxi knocked him. And I understand when the police came, they found pool of blood right here. And I can see from where I am some parts of, I think, either the motorcycle or the taxi that knocked him.
Police in Trader is trying hard to understand how that taxi could veer off its lane without any obstruction and hit Moses. ASP Dorcas Mensah, the Trader District MTTD boss, however, says their investigations have slowed down.
The driver was billed and he was asked to be reporting himself. The investigator went with the surety to know where he's residing, and he went back to the hospital, took statement from the victim. Since he's minor, another statement too was taken from the mother. Since he's alive, he can tell us exactly what happened at the scene. So we are waiting. Either we can go to I don't know whether the doctors will allow it, but so far as he's now going for another surgery, I don't think it will be appropriate for us to move him from the hospital and send him to the scene. So we are waiting.
Moses has so far undergone 8 surgeries and has 2 more to do. But this pain is not what bothers him. The pain from the services he rendered his local church and school, which he may not be able to render again.
Those were excerpts of a documentary put together by my colleague Seth Kwame Boateng, The Crash. And joining me in the studio to do the discussion, Seth Kwame Boateng is here himself. Nana Anoame here is chairman of the Road Safety Advocates Ghana. And via Zoom, Ebenezer Baidu would also be joining us. He is with Bloomberg Philanthropy's Initiative for Global Road Safety. And Seth Kwame Boateng have also joined us in the studio, thankfully. We've been speaking to people about the dangers on the road as pedestrians. Listen to what they have to say.
Yes, I do. And I say this because most of the drivers on the streets or on the roads are very indisciplined. Because even where pedestrians are supposed to walk, you see drivers driving on the wings of the road, which endangers the lives of all the pedestrians. Yeah. Well, I haven't experienced that myself. I've seen that several times in La Paz. You know, when you get to La Paz, after the Gué filling station, most of the drivers will always want to use the wings. And I've seen several times knocking people and other times to crashing with motorbikes who are using the flanks. Yeah.
All right, so sometimes I do get scared because of the reckless driving. Sometimes when they are trying to dodge potholes and other stuff. So, and are coming unconsciously, they just give a very high horn, which can scare you thinking something is happening. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that was yesterday night, around Spinters Road. Yeah, I was about crossing. I looked left and before I realized there was a that got me scared. So I have to check back before moving back here.
Yeah, most times I feel at risk, but it's just the trotro drivers, they need to, most time when they see pedestrian crossing, they need to bring down the speed. That's just it. I've seen someone knocked down by a trotro, and the guy had to reverse and go. There was no even aid. Nobody came to the aid. Still, it was just there.
Sure, because you sometimes happen to see vehicles parking on the pavement. That's putting one side of the tire on the pavement. And it's possible, some even, especially when there's traffic, they want to make their way out of the traffic as quickly as they can. So they tend to make use of the pavement. So for me, it's risky sometimes. So usually when I'm walking, I usually want to face the direction of where the movement of the car is coming from. I prefer facing the car rather than having the car behind me, because being knocked down by a car on the pavement is highly possible. I think that would be at Kaswa. Yes, I had a car horn at me because the car drove onto the pavement, so he has to horn for me to give way, even though that wasn't a road. So that's a little experience I can share.
Yes, I do. You know the nature of our roads, especially when you don't have the metal rails by it. And assuming I am walking towards this direction, the vehicle is coming behind me. Anything at all is capable of happening, so surely you feel at risk. And you always have to watch your back when you are going, because you know the nature of our roads and how our vehicles are. Yeah, so not really, but at times when you are driving, you see a couple of such incidents happening where one has to fail the brake and then you see them going across, knocking individuals and so. But personally, I don't have such experience, but I've experienced it happen to others. Yes.
But to me, anytime I'm walking on the road, I'm very alert, so that I won't be knocked by a car or anything like that. So it's just being careful about yourself. Yeah, that's all.
Yes, I do.
Okay, do you have any experiences to share?
Yeah, when I was in level 100, I was knocked down by a motorbike at Amanfrom Junction, where the bus stop is, and from my perspective, it was the fault of the trotro drivers trying to stop to pick up passengers. So that kind of messy situation led to the motorcycle person hitting me. So yeah, that's my experience. That's why I'm always afraid of walking close by the roadside. Yeah.
And those were comments from the streets of Accra. And thankfully, Engineer Samuel Boama Dankwa, who is a safer street and mobility coordinator at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, has also joined this conversation. Gentlemen, I'm grateful for your time. I'll start right here in the studio, and I'll begin with Seth Kwamboating. Seth Kwamboating, I saw how you were fuming this afternoon when we had information about another accident which has killed one more person. I mean, you must be feeling terrible right now, because I mean, this is something we've been talking. In fact, we're trying to digest what happened during the weekend. We are not done with that, and here we are. There's another one coming in. How does that make you feel?
I have not been able to overcome what happened last weekend, that we lost around 21 lives, and just 2 days after we are hearing of this. So
28 lives, I think.
Okay, so it's really, really pathetic how we seem not to be appreciating lives. And I cited an example, or I said something a while ago. I asked when was last time you heard the vehicle carrying X having involved in an accident. Hardly do we hear of that.
Hardly do. I mean, drivers are extra careful when they are carrying X.
But not when it comes to human lives. We often hear the drivers say that, I'm going to like throw them somewhere and come back. You understand? And it happens. So this afternoon we are hearing of a 2-month or 2-year-old baby battling for his life.
Yeah, a 2-year-old.
Yeah, a 2-year-old. And just last 3 weeks or so, in Ashanti region, a 2-week-old baby. Yeah. The mother was going for postnatal clinic. They sat on Okada. They were involved in an accident. So the baby head hit the ground.
My
and
goodness.
that baby, as we speak, is still struggling for her life. She's only 2 weeks. And here is the case per the statistics. We are losing approximately 9 lives every day in Ghana. Per the statistics, it used to be 6 lives, but now from the statistics, if you do the calculation, you are losing approximately 9 lives daily. Meaning by the close of today, we would have lost 9 lives. And some of these people are breadwinners. You understand? When they were leaving their homes, they told their families, see you later this evening. Are they going back? And just yesterday, the police hospital issued a statement that they were about burying some unidentified bodies this week. And I can tell you, from the little I know, a number of these unidentified bodies are people who are involved in road traffic accident. So nobody shows up, no relative shows up, they are going to mass bury them. Meaning these people have been killed in road traffic accident, and no family member is aware. No family member is aware, so they are going to be mass buried. So you might be there thinking you've not seen this relative for a very long time. Who knows? Perhaps that person is among those going to be mass buried this week. And they are not only adults, children are involved. My latest documentary showed that there are quite a number of children who have been killed through road traffic accident. No relative knows they have been killed. Nobody has come to identify them. So they're also going to be mass buried. So we often hear on radio or in the media that, oh, this child has gone missing for weeks. We've seen those statements over and again, that this child has gone missing, we can't find. Probably he or she is among those who have been killed through road traffic accident. And some have been mass buried, and this week, some more will be mass buried.
Nana, you've been issuing statements on this issue, and of course, over the period, you've been doing a lot of work on road safety. You must be worried that drivers carrying eggs are more careful than carrying human beings.
Yes, I've used that analogy all the time. Before I start, let me greet your cherished viewers and listeners. And deducing from what said, the indefatigable said, what I just said. You see, and let me quote Albert Einstein. Yeah, Albert Einstein is credited with saying that the highest level of insanity is doing things, the same thing all the time and expecting different results. Look, why am I saying this? We've been here, said what he has been on the road. He's been talking about road safety, this and that. And rather, the numbers are becoming exponentially, you're getting exponential increment in the numbers. Yeah. There's no reduction. So that means that we must find different strategies. People talk about, you see, in Ghana, sometimes I marvel. When the roads are bad, I mean, per your statistics, and the weather is clear, that's where we get more crashes.
That's quite surprising.
It's very, very paradoxical that when the road condition,
the weather
condition is clear, everything, then, and there's also, we experienced in the north when we went for accident investigation, when the road is clear, no tangent, no curve, no bend, as they say in Ghana, and there's no hill, it's straight line. Then people fall asleep, and they crash. When you think the road, there are no potholes, that it's conducive for driving. Rather, you get people, whatever. So when you want to narrow it down, where the problem is about training and enforcement of the law.
So who should we fault?
Well, I'm not going to sit here and be a judge and say that we should fault this, but
we must
should
name and shame if we would get somewhere with this conversation. Otherwise, it will also become talk, and nothing is achieved.
You know, Ghana, the speaker of the truth in Ghana is the enemy number one of the state.
Okay.
So sometimes you have to be measured in some of the things by not going out like our even statement that we issued.
We need to know those who are the duty bearers, who is supposed to take the blame for this. Then we can hold them responsible.
Yes, I use the word irresponsible and insensitive. And I'm getting some comments, you know, that, oh, it's too strong a word. But how else can an advocate express his frustrations that things are there, but the authorities who are responsible for enforcing those laws are not doing it? There's selective justice in this country, especially on the roads. The road traffic regulations clearly stipulates the do's and the don'ts on the roads.
Okay.
Look, clearly, if you come to your front, the street in your front there, hawking is not allowed. It's part of the regulations.
Yeah.
That's the low-hanging fruits that we can easily deal with. But what do you see? I once accosted a police officer. I said, but you're here in the midst of these street hawkers. But the law says that they cannot hawk on the street. I said, the policeman, you are there to enforce the law. You are not there to say that, oh, I'm going to be a social worker. That's not your job. The job of the policeman is there to enforce the law.
Yeah.
But they choose and select. Even the police officers themselves, you see them going on a motorbike without helmet.
Yeah.
So if the enforcer of the law is actually violating or breaching the law, who does he expect to obey the law?
Aisha, like what happened today, the accident in Gomwa.
Yeah.
A car was spoiled and was in the middle of the road.
Okay.
I understand there was no warning triangle. So, meaning no police officer passed and saw the vehicle. No police officer saw.
These are questions that beg answers.
Exactly. And we know the one that happened at Tesano a few months ago, early in the morning, where somebody died, 2 people died. You understand? It was so close to the Tesano police station.
Yeah.
And officers passed there daily. As soon as the accident happened, people died, they were able to tow the vehicle. So what is happening?
Why didn't we correct this?
Yes, on my way from Kumasi, after we premiered the documentary, something happened and I was shocked. Behind me was this young guy driving at the 80 or 100, speeding. I saw him from my mirror, overtaking about 6 cars.
Wow.
Then he came right behind me. Then he overtook me, came in front of me.
Wow.
And there was little traffic. So I managed to maneuver, and I came to him and I said, bro, slow down.
Slow down.
Because your life is very important. He said, okay. Then when the traffic started moving, I saw him and I counted about 6 other cars.
That he overtook.
He overtook. Then when he was about coming back to his lane, he met this articulator. So he had to go down on the side of the articulator.
Lucky him.
Then the articulator passed. Then he came in again.
Goodness.
So imagine if there was another car coming.
Because the articulator would have blocked the others from
and he
seeing
came in
what
again.
was happening behind
and
it.
Aisha, I didn't see him again.
Wow.
I didn't see him again.
It's interesting. I mean, because when you came in, the first question I asked, what is happening to us? Because we are talking about this and we're doing a lot of things. Yesterday in our conversation, we talked about how we need dual carriage ways, roads and all of that. Luckily, we have the experts who've been conducting some research in that area. Let me bring you in. Let me bring in this one from Bloomberg. He's been doing some research. Tell me about what you found in that research. Ebenezer. Ebenezer, kindly unmute for me.
Hello.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Ebenezer.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah.
Loud
Good
and clear.
to your panelists and to your viewers and listeners. Okay. So in the 2019-2020 police crash data that we collected and analyzed, the findings show that we lost 73 pedestrians in 2019 and 77 of them in 2020. And if you should combine this data, 71 of these pedestrians were actually knocked down by lightweight vehicles in the city. And in this case, you are looking at cars, pickups, and SUVs. Okay. And bus and minibus also knocked down 33 pedestrians in the city between 2019 and 2020 as well. And we saw motorcyclists also knocking 21 pedestrians. So this is what our current findings show in our report. And it's quite sad that, in fact, most of these deaths are also occurring at the intersection points and on multiple lane corridors in the city. So if you take the N1, for instance, there's been a lot of pedestrian deaths on that stretch, especially between Apenkwa Interchange and Dimples Roundabout.
So with all these, did you find out exactly what caused these accidents? Was it speeding on the path of the drivers?
Obviously, that's the underlying factor. And that is why, as part of this initiative, we've also considered speeding as a risk factor contributing to the death that is being recorded in the city. Even though the Johns Hopkins observational studies have confirmed that general prevalence of speeding has reduced in the city, but we are still seeing pedestrian deaths increasing. As I mentioned earlier, in 2019, the official reported deaths among pedestrians was 73, but in 2020, it increased to 77. So obviously, speeding is contributing. And of course, there are other factors that we can say it's on the part of the pedestrians, because some of them are also inattentive when they are crossing the road, especially the highways in the city.
Now, Samuel Boama, you are with the AMA, and I know you've been putting together a lot of stuff, which you seek to launch tomorrow. Tell me, what are some of the measures you're putting in place to deal with some of these issues?
Thank you very much, and hello to my panelists and all viewers and listeners. So over time, it's been observed that pedestrians have been the highest casualties when it comes to road crashes within the city of Accra. And so in 2017, we put together and launched a pedestrian action plan, which was to help bring together all relevant stakeholders who, one way or the other, implement specific interventions to support pedestrian safety within the city of Accra, and put all these together to ensure we follow through to have pedestrian safety. And so since this action plan came into being, we have significantly been implementing some of these key interventions. For instance, the allocations of particular stretches that didn't have any speed limit signs at all. And so through the initiative's efforts, these were highlighted and speed limit signs were implemented. Then again, if you look at specific intersections, you realize that the traffic signal timing to facilitate safe pedestrian movement were not adequate. And so anytime pedestrians needed to cross, they were in a hurry, running, etc. And so with the support of the road agencies, these pedestrian signal timings were increased to allow pedestrians to cross safely. Then again, at pedestrian crossing locations, there's what we call the curb. Usually the curbs are raised, and that is wrong design. They are supposed to be lowered to flush with the road surface, and that allows for uninterrupted and free flow for pedestrians to cross, and also for people who are in wheelchairs to cross the road safely. And so these, together with remarking of pedestrian crossings, remarking of road lines, etc., are a few of the interventions that have been put in place to support pedestrian safety within the city of Accra. And I should say that this is being done in support of all relevant stakeholders. The road agencies are on board, the enforcement team are on board, National Road Safety Authority on board. And so with the support of the Pedestrian Action Plan, quite significant implementation has been done.
Earlier, I know Amir talked about how pedestrians have taken over our streets, and he even had to accost a policeman for not checking this.
Yes.
I mean, this is something that is so easy to control. One of the easiest things we can control. What's the role of the AMA, and for that matter, your outfits in helping to check some of these things? Because when the people are not on the road, the cars will not run over them. I mean, at least we can control some of those accidents.
Yes, definitely. If you look at the principles of road safety, people look at a number of E's. Some call it the 3 E's, the 4 E's. So you look at the engineering component to ensure that the roads are designed safely to support safe pedestrian movement. You look at enforcement, which also comes to support enforcing any regulation that has come into force to support pedestrian safety. You look at education, which also helps us to conscientize people of the need to cross at the specific locations and to use the pedestrian walkway instead of walking on the road corridor itself. But there is a silent E, which I would want to emphasize, which has to do with everyone. It has been said that road safety is a shared responsibility. So all these factors could be put in place, engineering-wise, enforcement-wise, education-wise, but we as citizens should also ensure that we really respect the rules that govern us when it talks about being in the road space. Once you step into the road space, you are open to a certain level of risk. And so for us as pedestrians, it's also very relevant for us. The AM over the years have been helping to enforce some of these things. And so there's been a lot of education, some significant communication has gone on. From time to time, we see to clearing hawkers who have taken over existing pedestrian walkways, because what that literally does is when the hawkers take over the walkways, then pedestrians are compelled to walk on the road corridor, and that is very injurious to their lives. So over time, these are some of the interventions we've been putting together to support pedestrian safety.
Seth Kwambwaching, you wanted to...
Yes, Aisha, let me just walk you through the pedestrian knockdowns we recorded this year.
Okay.
This year.
Just this year.
And this is from January to July.
To July. That's half of the year.
1,470 across the country.
1,470.
1,470. And I'm getting this from the Police Motor and MTTD.
MTTD, yes.
And out of this, 423 were
already
killed.
Dead. Okay, so it means that we may pass the number of the 500 we are even talking about a year, because if half the year we've already recorded 423
and 1,046 got injured.
This is alarming.
And this is just between January and July. So all those who have been knocked down in the month of August, we have not added.
We've not added that.
We have not added that. Just in 7 months, we've lost 423
people.
Yes, and we've had 1,470 people knocked down across the country.
Nana, I'm happy that he talked about the silent E. On top of the malfunctioning traffic lights, and then the bad roads and non-enforcement of our laws, there's also the bit about every one of us having collective responsibility. I mean, how do we tackle it from here?
Yes, Aisha. You see, I always say that as far as safety is concerned, everybody owes it to himself, personally. The safety, your personal safety, you owe it to yourself before somebody else steps in.
Definitely.
You don't expect the government to take care of your safety or somebody else to take care of your safety. But before I go further, you see, you mentioned something about conscientization. And I've always believed that, you see, your formative years, that is very crucial. That when you are age 2 as a toddler and you are taught how to cross the road and how to interact with the roadway, Like there was a video, I don't know whether you saw it, from a Japanese video with their kids being taught from age 2 how they go even on the collector street, with the street that is not the arterial roads. Because arterial roads are not for human passage, crossing. But the kids will go, the typical Japanese, they will cross and they bow. When the motorists allow them to, then they'll bow their heads. So that same child, when he knows and he grows up to be a driver, he will be also according the same protocols to those who are crossing the roads. But here in Ghana here, those pedestrians who are being knocked down, they don't even know how to cross the road. Last time on one of your programs, about 4 or 5 years ago, I was talking to you about footer training. Footer. I narrowed it down as a footer. A pedestrian is a footer. And that footer also doubles up later on to be a driver. So if he has been conscientized and he's been trained or indoctrinated, if I should use that strong word, to know how to interact on the roadway, that person, there will be no knockdowns or what have you. But when you see a driver that sees a pedestrian, even on a zebra crossing,
and will still speed.
They will still be passing by. And so, classic example, when we were playing golf at Achimota, you know, when you are crossing the road, we have zebra crossing there. The drivers will not be stopping for us. You know what we do? With, you know, our pata is metal. So when you want to cross the road, you put it in front of you, like this. And will they cross with the metal and allow their windscreen to and that is what these drivers.
But we shouldn't even go through this. And sometimes you see that when the lights are off, human beings do not use their brains and say that, okay, let's stop for this one to pass or that. Because the lights are off, so it's we are all moving.
Is it the same human beings who are in the UK, in Japan?
Exactly.
But here we are not human beings, we are animals.
Yes,
is that what you're referring?
But what I want to find out from you, you've been doing a lot of work with Road Safety Commission. What has been the efforts over the period to correct some of these things?
You see, road safety, until it turned into authority, it was just a coordinator. They didn't have any teeth to bite. And I've always said that if you don't give road safety or road safety commission teeth to bite, they will forever be just scratching the surface.
Thankfully, it's now an authority.
Is it even an authority? The LI is not even
has not been passed.
Has not been passed. So they are still in the same. But they are doing very well, preparing themselves, gearing themselves up
for the
LI to come through. But under the circumstances, but for me, you said name and blame. Where I'm really going to put my neck out and whatever is the MTTB. The MTTB is not enforcing the laws at all, because the little push that National Road Safety Authority is doing, if it's complemented by enforcement, we will cut the whatever into half. And also, that's a point that was made, that the attention we attach to the COVID.
That's where I'm coming.
Let me
see. Not give him that same attention.
As a public health person, I need to say this.
Okay.
You see, we have planned interventions for COVID. We have national plan, regional plan, district plan for COVID. And we have committees in charge to make sure that we are able to handle COVID. What is our national plan
for road safety?
You see, in 17 months, COVID came last year March. So last year March till date, 17 months, we've lost about 961. I don't know if somebody has
died up to 1,000
today.
Even run it up to 1,000.
Yes. So in 17 months, we've lost, let's say, 1,000. Okay. Here's the case: road traffic accident. In 7 months, the 19 who died over the weekend are not part. Those who died today, not part. In just 7 months, we've lost 1,706.
Wow.
1,706.
That's more.
And we have not declared this pandemic yet. We are not seeing a national plan. We are not hearing from the transport ministry. Transport ministry.
Yesterday,
what the plan is. And it is sad. Are we waiting for a VVIP to be crashed before we activate all these things?
Yeah.
And I'm asking, we are saying 9 people would have been killed by the close of today.
Yeah.
Aisha, let's think about it. Who is next?
Who is next?
No, but Seth,
who is next?
Seth, it's also instructive to ask, on that pandemic, how much have we spent, on the pandemic?
Exactly.
You've spent over $1 billion.
Yes. And how much have we
last time I said it on your whatever, that he is sitting here. The plans, that the technology and other things that is available.
Yep.
If you give me $100 million, just $100 million, paltry sum, $100 million,
you can
I will cut the road carnage on the status. I'll cut it into half in first year, 1 year. And going into 2 years, we'll be going towards Sweden standards. It's there.
I think the will, the police car will. I don't think it's there.
Let me tell you, UMAT. Now they have got technology for checking speeding on our roads.
Okay.
You just need to really bring it and actualize it on our roads. There's so much that we can do now. We rely on archaic systems of getting a policeman on the roadside, using this speed gun and all that. Those things are now
and once there are human beings involved, I mean, there will be, people will
I don't want to say it, but
will be compromised.
Until we get somebody boldly come out and catalog interventions. We are doing A from tomorrow. We are doing B from today. Until we hear that, Aisha, we will keep talking.
Are we ever going to hear that?
It's my hope. I'm praying that we hear that. Because Aisha, when we all left home, we told our family, see you this evening.
Yeah.
And we are saying 9 people would be killed by close of today. Again, who is next?
Your 9 that you're talking about. You see, you mentioned that there are some unknown, unidentified people.
We don't hear.
So the 9 is not. The 9 is not what we are talking about. 10 to 11. The statistics.
Yeah. Okay, so those we hear and police go there and report. We are saying about 9.
Yes,
but there are many others we don't even hear.
Okay, let me bring in Ebenezer from Bloomberg. Ebenezer, what are the recommendations you put up in this research you put together? Kindly unmute for me, Ebenezer.
Hello. Aisha, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right. Okay. So,
Ebenezer's internet is poor. We'll try and get him. Let's fix his internet and then we can wrap up this conversation. But Samuel, I want to take your last words. What are we going to be seeing from tomorrow as you launch that report you seek to launch?
Well, if you look at the highlights of the report, they point us to the specific indicators of where we are failing to get road safety up to where we want to get to. So it's primarily, the data is primarily showing us the various hotspots that we need to give the needed attention to. So for all of us as stakeholders, it will be very relevant to be in this program, to have copies of the report, and to use it as a basis to plan the various interventions we need to put together to ensure that safety is paramount. The figures my colleagues mentioned are very significant because these may look like normal figures, but behind each of these numbers is a human face and a human life. And so we should give the necessary attention it deserves to ensure that lives are preserved on our road space.
And let me take your final word. Has his internet been fixed? Ebenezer, is your internet fixed? Hello, Ebenezer. Okay, so I was talking about the recommendations you put together.
I can hear you, Aisha.
All right, so let me in the recommendations that you put together.
Okay, so the key recommendations are on police enforcement, that it should be intensified, especially on weekends, because the report found that 51% of road deaths occur on weekends. That is Fridays to Sundays. This is when most of the fatal crashes occur. So if you should have enforcement intensify within this period, the numbers will change, and definitely that pattern will change as well. And we also entreat the road agencies, especially the National Road Safety Authority, to also intensify the mass media campaigns, targeting especially the male drivers in this regard, because we notice that most of the fatal crashes are recorded highly among males relative to the females in this regard. So we've seen that majority are pedestrians who are coming or recording high deaths in the city. So once we target this group of people, looking at their demographic profile, that is their gender and then age, targeting these people and educating them would definitely change these patterns and ensure that the city space is safe for all road users.
Right, so that's Ebenezer there, and Samuel is also from the other. Let me take my last words from you. There's been the question about dualization of our roads, whether it's the panacea to our problems. I mean, for you, is that what we need to stop all of this?
No, dualization. You see, I hear people calling themselves experts and whatever. They haven't studied the situation, what is actually causing all these head-on collisions that you hear about. You see, when you go on the road, you have vehicles that are not roadworthy to be on the road. And those that are laden to the brink, to the hilt, that they cannot even do 5 kilometers an hour. And they are going on these roads, which have curves on them, like the main, the Trans-West African Highway, which is from Aflao all the way down to my place, Lubo, in Zama. If you look at the road, the vehicles that are on the road are crawling, doing 5 kilometers an hour. And you have these vehicles that we used to call them one pound. I don't know what they call them these days. The vehicles that load about 9, the Dodge, they have 9 passengers, and they want to go from Accra and offload their passengers and come back again. They are in haste. So when they want to overtake...
The Ford vehicles?
The Ford vehicles. When they want to overtake, and there will be a pile-up of about 10 vehicles, 20 vehicles behind these crawling vehicles doing 5 kilometers an hour. And then they go through these vehicles that are laden to the hill that they cannot even do 10 kilometers an hour. They go through police barriers. One time, I followed one and stopped him at the Biriwa checkpoint and told the police officers that this vehicle cannot be on the road because we followed this vehicle and it's causing traffic on the road. And then I left them, and they said, "Oh, they told me that they don't have the mechanism of checking the load. They can't look at the thing, the vehicle, and see that it's overladen. But if I can see that vehicle is overladen, how can the police officers can see? They say, well, they are not trained to do that.
Wow.
So I thought they will offload some of the timber that has been laden that was causing those things. I went to Winneba. I got to Winneba and stopped there for about an hour and a half to rest because of the traffic at Bujumbura. And lo and behold, this same truck that I asked the police to ensure that it doesn't go on the road with that, whatever, he came and passed and going about his business, normal business. So really, don't have time. But there are a lot of underlying factors that are causing these head-on collisions. Driver training. So this, what do you call it, this N1, the motorway, or the 3 lanes that they did, Kufuor motorway.
Yes.
The time that it was being launched, we didn't have any motorway in Ghana. That our drivers have not been trained on driving in multiple lanes.
Okay.
So I thought the police, MTT, I suggested at that time, the MTTD should have about 10 motor riders on each side of the road, and then take the opportunity to sensitize when they see like a vehicle who is driving about 10 kilometers an hour, is in the inner lane, where it's meant to be not speeding, for overtaking.
Okay.
Because as per the regulations, when you overtake in the inner lane, you go back to the outside original lane. You see, whether there's vehicles in the inner lane or not, or whatever. But here, the mentality is that, oh, my family lane, also found here. Look at it. I've taken my lane, so what is your business hooting at me? So if you go on the Tama motorway, you see a lot of drivers who hug the term is hog. They hog the inner lane, and when you want to, then so you see what you call serpentine driving.
Just like the scenario
and serpentine driving are vehicles doing 150 kilometers an hour doing serpentine driving. Definitely, there will be a conflict.
It's just out of this place. But Seth Kwam-Boateng, what are the lessons we should learn from the documentary you pick up? I mean, you speak with people and all of that. What cues should we take?
There are faces behind the numbers.
Definitely.
This what I want to put across. Faces behind the numbers.
Yeah.
So we are saying 6 children are being killed every week.
Yeah.
6 children. So they are faces. Human lives.
If it hasn't come to you, or if your family member hasn't been involved, you shouldn't think that they are just numbers.
So there are faces, and that is what we should be thinking about every day. So if you are watching us, you left home, you told your family you'll be back. When you're going back, please be careful how you drive.
Yeah.
Because you've told them you'll be back.
Yep.
So they are expecting
they must see you in one full piece.
Marshall, my last word. I hear the IGP, new IGP. He's an action man.
Yeah.
So I want him to get onto the motorway and stop those pedestrians who don't have any care for their lives. Stop them from crossing and also stop the trotros from stopping and discharging passengers.
In the middle of the road.
No, on the shoulder of the road.
Yes.
Soliciting for passengers
those
on the motorway.
Stations they've made over there.
Soliciting for, can you imagine?
It's amazing that we have to bring in the IGP to deal with this.
No, but he's a hands-on IGP. That's why I'm imploring that he should come and then.
He's been tried and tested.
Okay,
and
so
we hope that
Dr. Akufo-Dampare, this is a challenge thrown to you, and this is a conversation we'll continue to have until there is sanity on our roads, and then we'll reduce the deaths on our roads. Seth Kwam-Boateng is my colleague. He's been working a lot on road safety, and if you watch that documentary, you'll be amazed at the interesting things that he found in there. Nanano Amehir, he is also chairman for the Road Safety Advocate Ghana. Thank you so much for coming, Nanano Amehir. And also those who joined us via Zoom, Ebenezer Beidu, he is a Roads Injury and Surveillance Coordinator at Bloomberg Philanthropies Initiative, and Samuel Boama Dankwa, who is also Road Design Transport Coordinator, also with the Bloomberg Philanthropies Initiative. I'm extremely grateful, gentlemen, for your time this afternoon. Now, meanwhile, transport experts are campaigning for the construction of dual carriageways on the country's major roads. This comes after 21 people died in 3 separate accidents last weekend. The experts believe this can be one of the ways of reducing the carnage on the country's roads. Here's Director of Building and Roads Research Institute, Dr. Senso Jambibi, speaking on PM Express last night.
We need to start dualizing our highways. We have to dualize our highways. We are a middle-income country, and we've got to do that. Do you know that from 1991 to 2019, the number of vehicles on our roads have increased by 2,089%. In a space of 28 years, we have an increase of vehicles on our roads, 2,089. So if these vehicles are all on our roads and we do not have an effective road infrastructure, then there's cause for alarm, and these accidents will continue to occur. So we need to dualize our roads and improve them. If you look at the bypasses we have at Nsuam and Nkoko, you would realize that accidents on these stretches have reduced significantly. Gone were the days when we had the Potrase in the eastern region, where almost every day there was an accident. Now that these bypasses have come, you realize that these black spots are no more there because we have been able to dualize them and taking the accidents off the accident black spots. So road infrastructure is very key.
Ranking Member of Parliament's Roads and Transport Committee, Kwame Agboja, believes the country does not have the needed resources now to provide dual carriageways for all major roads.
The total amount of money in the budget for 2021 for capital investment in roads is 1 billion Ghana cedi. We are told a kilometer of asphalt is about $1 million. You find out how many kilometers you can build with 1 billion Ghana cedi. Anybody who thinks that, okay, from Accra, from Tema to Aflao, maybe 170 kilometers, Tema to Ho, 165 kilometers thereabout. From Accra to Kumasi, over 200 and something kilometers. Similar distances to Takrady. In effect, we are looking for what? Maybe 1,000 kilometers of dualization of that road. To be frank with you, there's no space in the budget to be able to do that. So whilst we are trying to do that as a long-term intervention, Doc talked about certain things that we can be doing in terms of enforcement and at least maintenance of road. Indeed, some of the accidents are avoidable because the nature of the road, potholes and other things, drivers trying to maneuver and dodge these things, fall into the bush or go into the veer onto the direction of the oncoming vehicle. So if we have our way, the 78,000 kilometers of road we talked about, if we have our way, half of them will be dualized. But is it realistic to think that tomorrow morning the road minister is going to announce that we are dualizing all these major roads? I don't think it's realistic.